Hello and welcome to the Chicane Podcast, where we discuss all things in the sim racing world. I'm your host, Jason Rivera, and I'm joined here again by Mr. Eric Kelly and Jeff Smart. How are you all doing today?
Thank
Doing
goodness
well.
it's Friday.
Yeah, man, I'm ready to get into it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. It is Friday today. And today we are going to talk about iRacing, which is a massive topic, and we are going to break this down in the simplest manner to get you guys up to date. If you're not up to date on this, there's been quite a few changes with classes, rain, penalties, safety, what have you. But we're going to cover this on a step-by-step case. And without further ado, I'm going to start today with talking about what iRacing is. So iRacing started in 2008. It is a sim racing, game only available on the PC. It covers dirt racing, road racing, formula racing, NASCAR racing. You name it. This game has everything.
Jason, it's got everything. It's got rallycross. I mean, it's
It's got
monster trucks.
rallycross?
Yeah, I was doing it the other day. It's pretty sweet. Keep going, buddy. Sorry to jump in
No,
there.
that's totally, man. I mean, again, there's things that are being added in there that I might not be aware of, but I know that there was a recent merger with the class system. But to put this in order, we're going to talk about pricing. Can you cover pricing for us, Jeff?
Yeah, sure. So iRacing is a little bit different design game than your other games that are, think of traditionally when you think ACC, F123. So with iRacing, you buy a monthly subscription. If you look around on the internet, you can get discounts to get it at a discount price, but it's like a couple bucks a month. And the membership comes with, think of like a basic cars. You can get a little like a basic NASCAR, basic race car, open wheel formula cars. But don't think you're going to get anything super flashy with that basic membership. iRacing's big, that differentiates them from the other games is that you buy individual cars and tracks. So it can get there potentially could be a bigger upfront investment, if you will, to buy individual cars. It's, if you want to jump around from open wheel to oval to NASCAR to rallycross, you potentially could drop some money buying cars and tracks to figure out what you like, or if you like everything. But once you kind of build a repertoire, and you get a bunch of cars that that are in your garage and a couple tracks to use them on, the sky's the limit for what you want to go out and race on. But you don't go in thinking you're going to buy packs of cars and stuff. They're onesie twosies that you buy, and then tracks are the same. So I think that kind of gives everybody a decent picture of the iRacing platform and kind of how it differs from your traditional games, ACC, Assetto Corsa, WRC, etc. Anything else you want to jump in there and add on, Jason?
Yeah. So to be for those of you that haven't tried iRacing, there's also, as Jeff mentioned, there is many ways of getting a discount. So there's a Steam discount that's always there, and I believe it's a 10% off. But if you're a new member, because iRacing requires a subscription first and foremost, and if you're a new member, I'm looking at the website right this minute, and new members get 40% off if you buy time in bulk. What I mean by that is a month will cost you $7.80. We're talking USD. And the regular price is $13 a month, which is, it's quite high for a membership. However, if you get 3 months, it'll be $19.80. If you opt for the year, it's $66. And if you opt for 2 years, it's $119.40. So I would do this. If you buy Fanatec gear, if you decide to go that route, Fanatec, every piece of Fanatec wheel or wheelbase comes with a 3-month trial to iRacing. And I want to let you guys know this because this is really important. iRacing uses your real name. So it'll use the name that's on your credit card. It will not accept, a PayPal or anything like that. You could purchase content using PayPal, but your subscription must be from a credit card. So if you're going to try the game out, let's say for that 3 months, then this discount is not going to apply to you. Does that make sense? So what I would do is create an email, take another credit card that's different from your standard credit card, the one that you use the most, and sign up using that 3-month code and try it out. Because with the game, with the trial, you're looking at a total, hold on, I got it here, of 23 cars that you will get included just by being a subscriber member. So you don't have to purchase anything. And then it also comes with 30 tracks with over 83 unique configurations available for free. So you have quite a bit of content to see to make the decision if, hey, is this for me or is it not for me? So the reason why I tell you guys to make basically a dummy account is because you won't be able to change your name. So if you like your first and last name, this happened to me. So I like, my things to have all my stuff to have my first and last name. So I was forced to use my middle initial because I already had an account. There was already an account with my name on it that matched the description of, my address and my credit card and all that stuff. So it is pricey. However, it's probably the most realistic driving that I've ever experienced. I mean, hands
Yeah,
down. The graphics, yeah, you can go over
Jason, I just
graphics,
want to
Jeff.
before I jump into the graphics there, I just want to kind of bring up a point about the name on your credit card. Is most people think that's a bad thing, or they get kind of not a bad thing, but just kind of get nervous about it. It's a good thing. I thought the same thing, but then I started using iRacing, and it's a good thing because you have the spotters saying, "Hey, you got Michael Smith behind you at 2.3 seconds." You don't hear, "Hey, you got Cupcake 234 2 seconds behind you." You have an actual name. But to that point, you occasionally see things on Instagram coming through as, "Hey, look at this. I am racing Max Verstappen in this race," because he is a iRacing user. And you see his name on there because it's linked to his credit card. So I just say
cool.
I like it that it's actually your real name on there.
Yeah. So I had two questions. One, what's the price of a typical car? Does it depend on the car? Does it depend on the class of racing, or is it like a set price per car?
Well, I'll jump in there. So I have my rookie license, and I'm getting close to going to a D license. So I'm an open wheel racer. So I was starting to look at the F4 car, and it is, just to put it in perspective, it's like $11, 11 and change. So it's not,
Okay.
and I'll drive that for probably every time I get into iRacing for, until I get a C license or something better to jump up into the next, I forget the class above that one, but I'll drive that for 3-4 months, every time I get in the rig. So
Yeah.
maybe that's a data point for you. Jason can probably
So
jump in with some more detailed information for pricing.
So for pricing, they'll do a bulk discount. So if you buy the standard price on tracks, I believe is $15 per track. But once you buy it,
Oh,
you own it. You own the license of it. Let's be clear. You own the license to use, the track, and you can test drive whatever cars you own on that track all you want. But here's another kicker for you guys. I'm going to throw this in there because it's important. When iRacing goes under maintenance, and they announce it when they will go under maintenance, they unlock all content on the game because the servers are down, right? You can't race, can't do anything. But let's say you wanted to try out I don't know, they got a W13, which is the Mercedes F1 car. If you wanted to try that car without purchasing it, you're able to do it in the maintenance phase. So don't forget that.
Damn, I wish I
Now,
knew that. I bought it
that's
like 3
interesting.
days ago.
yeah, I know you did. I noticed that you bought the car without even having a license to drive the car. But anyway, because I think the W13 is an A license, which
Oh yeah.
which is a good segment for us to get into right now. But to wrap up pricing, it's the more you buy, the more of a discount. I think it's in threes. So if you do, it might be in threes or in fours. I gotta double check. But prices are standard across the board. They're standard for cars and they're standard for tracks. Is there any other questions, Jeff? Eric, before we move on to licenses?
Yeah, just a quick one about the trial that you mentioned. Is it like a trial where, because you mentioned that you get like 23 cars and all that stuff, is it a time limited trial where after a certain amount of time that content gets locked again, or is that just a perk of accessing that trial?
So it's tied to your subscription. So if you subscribe for 3 months, you can race
Okay.
them 1,000 hours. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You can.
as long as you have an active iRacing account, you can get access to those cars and tracks.
Okay. All right.
The thing
Gotcha.
is, you want to be careful because if you use that 3 months, right, that you get free, then you don't qualify for the new user discount. So what people end up doing, what iRacers do, is that they wait until a Black Friday sale and they add time to their iRacing subscription that way. And it's still
Okay.
not as much. The highest discount is going to be at the beginning. That 40%, you're never going to see that again. That is the first and only time. To me, it's worth it.
I
You
mean,
pay
Jason,
100. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, like if you spread it out over the month, it's like a Starbucks coffee. You know, it kills me that gets the iRenting moniker attached to it because as a sim racer and you buy a DD that's $1,000 and a wheel and all this other stuff, and then we sit here and complain about $11 car, or a $13 track, just to put in
Right.
perspective for everybody.
But you got to think,
Yeah.
iRacing is the most populated sim,
Yeah. And we'll
sim
get into why
racing.
that's good value.
Yeah, man. It's you have the user base and the like for example, we live in part of the U.S. where 6 p.m. my time, there's no more racing on LFM because it's 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning in some places, and not everybody's on there. But I've had way more luck finding a race with a full grid on iRacing at all times. It doesn't matter. And I'm pretty sure you have the same experience, Jeff.
Absolutely.
All right. So that covers the pricing. And we put that first because that is the most painful thing about iRacing is the damn pricing. So if you can move past the high cost, because think about it, guys. You build a rig, you spend thousands of dollars on a rig. Now you're looking at a subscription-based model. And it's like Jeff said, it's a cup of coffee. But then if we look at everything using that logic, man, we'll be in trouble, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean it's death by 1,000, paper cuts. Absolutely.
Because subscription models nowadays
Oh, killing you.
is killing you.
Yeah.
If you add up, I don't even want to add up all my subscriptions. I'm afraid to do it because it's probably a lot of money.
Don't hurt yourself.
All right,
I
so let's
know.
get off
These
pricing
stuff,
here and
man.
keep moving here. Let's get off the money here. Let's talk license.
All right, no more money. No more money's talk. We'll go over the licenses. So you start off as a rookie in iRacing. But here's the thing. You start off as a rookie in all different categories. So now it used to be the iRacing's old model was road, oval, dirt road, and dirt oval. Those were the four. Now they separated formula into its own category. So now you have road formula, oval, dirt road, and dirt oval. And each one of those has a safety rating attached to it, which we'll go over safety here in a second after we cover classes and licenses. But you basically, the way you progress to a different license, the very next one, it'll be a D, and then it's going up to C, B, A, and so on and so forth. The game tells you the requirements, but you have to participate in events that are For example, if you're a rookie, you don't have a choice. You have to race clean. You don't have to win races. You just have to race clean, and you have to complete races, not leave a race or quit or forfeit. You actually complete them. The other option is to do time trials, which I highly don't recommend
Get in and
because
race. That's
it's
what you
not you're
bought the
not
rig
racing.
for.
Yeah, what are you doing? You're just pretending to race in a time trial, and then you go into a C class race and you don't belong there
Yeah.
because you just don't
Yeah.
belong there.
If I can just jump in here as somebody that's kind of just getting into this for the past maybe 2 weeks, as a rookie and getting into a rookie race, I thought it was going to be a total dumpster fire of a race. It's pretty clean racing. I'm in the working the formula class. It's a lot cleaner racing than I thought it would be for rookie races. And you get DNC people in there that just jump in with license. But for the most part, it's really clean racing and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, you need it. I think the minimum to get into a D is completion of 2 or 3 races and a safety rating of above 3. And I think you start at 2.5. And if you complete a race pretty cleanly, I think you go up like maybe 0.1. So if you give it a solid weekend, maybe a long weekend, you could get out of rookie and into D. But I heard somebody say, I was listening to not a podcast, but a YouTube thing, and they're like, don't rush it. Like, you're in there to learn the fundamentals of racing, master the car, and first and foremost, have a good time doing it. Jason kind of gave me a hard time. Like, what's the rush with trying to get your D? And I was like, you're
I
right,
was
man.
about
Like,
to say, man,
I
didn't
had
I
I had
text
a
you earlier? I was like, hey, man, just
I'm not
take it
blast
easy.
text out to all you guys after my race. Hey, I came in 4th place. And dude, it's
Hey.
totally different driving an ACC when you know that, or excuse me, in iRacing, when you know there's a human on the other side of that car, from Mike from Indiana sitting in front of his computer racing versus in, ACC racing AI. So I'm having a blast racing rookie, having a blast. No rush getting into D. It'll happen, having fun, mastering the car, learning technique, etc. So I'll pass. Jason, you can keep going here if you want to.
Right. So I was just going to say that don't let the category or the type of license discourage you, because if you look at your timetables, Jeff, I'm going to use you as an example because you just you're getting into it now more serious, right? Um, you'll notice that there's people there with an A, B, and C class, licenses. Nothing is stopping them from attending and joining those races. It's because this is so much fun. So don't let that discourage you. Take your time, learn the tracks, learn the cars, learn the technique, and then you will see that you will progress. And how do you progress? Well, you have to meet the bare minimum, which is a 3.0 safety rating, and it goes by season. So every season, I think it's about a month or 2 months. I gotta somebody fact check me on that. Eric, fact
Yeah,
check me.
I think
How much
it's
uh
I think
how
it was
much
like
how much a
12 or
season
13
is.
weeks.
Right.
And we're in
And
week 2 right now, I think, currently, give or take.
all you have to do is make sure that you participate in the races. I think it's two or four of them. I think for rookie it's 2, and then
Yep.
from D on and up it's 4 races. It's not hard, and then you just maintain that safety rating. However, if you go over the top, you maintain that safety rating, but at the end of the season you will automatically be promoted to the next, and then you start over. Your rating will kind of sit at the default, which is 250, I believe.
It is.
But okay, 250. And then the other thing you can do is, if you're racing a lot and you're racing clean, and when I mean clean, off track, you get 17 incidents, which we'll cover in penalties. We have a subcategory for penalties, so I won't go over that just yet. I don't want to jump the gun. So we're going to talk about licenses. Uh, well, I'll finish off with, if you do get a 4.0 safety rating, you will be upgraded on spot. So you don't have to wait for the season to be over. So just
Battlefield
keep,
promotion.
there you go. Right front and center. So if you decide the road series, we're going to go over the road series. So the road series covers the Mazda MX-5 and I think it's a Toyota. So those are the two cars that you'll be using the most. Um, During the oval series, that's NASCAR. If you like NASCAR, please go ahead, but be warned that NASCAR is notorious for having the most craziest wrecks I've ever seen. If you go on
Yo, it's hard.
YouTube,
It's
you go on,
hard.
you go on YouTube and search up iRacing fails of the week. Of the week, oh my god, like
Yeah, if you've
cars
driven
piling
like
up.
ACC and those games, and you think you're going to get in there and crush somebody in NASCAR, boy, you're about to take a ego check.
Yeah, I mean, I know, NASCAR, and I didn't want to disclose how I felt about NASCAR and their left-hand turn racing. However, it is treacherous is the word. Treacherous.
It's cool with the banks when you're driving on the bank turn. That's kind of cool.
All right,
Yeah,
so
I think so.
okay,
Yeah.
well, I mean, NASCAR is not for me. So
Fair enough.
So dirt road, as Jeff mentioned, is a mix of rallycross and off-road pro trucking. So you got truck race.
Dude, they got everything.
They got trophy cars. Yeah,
you're taking this thing off jumps.
They even got dirt oval, right? Which is similar, but in an oval fashion, right? The same thing. So
Yeah, you're like drifting around the corner in like 100 miles an hour on dirt.
alrighty. So those kind of cover the licenses and the classes. So I'm going to hand this over to Jeff to talk about the safety rating, his favorite part.
Yeah, so I just said that, I've spent about 2 weeks in iRacing, maybe 2 races every night or every other night. And it's taken some getting used to. When it comes to safety, it's not necessarily the same as your other games for ACC or F123. So Jason alluded to that at the start of a race, you get 17 incidences. And an incident would be anytime you do track limits. It's going to, I think that's a 2 incident. And then any contact with another car, is it a 1? Okay. And any contact with a car is 2 to 4.
It's 4. It's 4, and hitting a wall is 2. So you're right. It's just that,
they can compile up.
Yes, when you hit a car, you go off track, you hit the wall, that's 1, 3, 7 incidents right there. And you only get 17, and then
you get DQ'd.
Bye-bye. And I think, you
hey,
you want to share?
And
Sure.
that's 17 per race, right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Oh.
And in the rookie class, it's like 12 minutes or 10 laps. So it's not impossible to drive clean, but I got rear-ended, slid into the wall, and my car was totally drivable. I mean, I was passing people after the crash, right? Building my position back up, and I had a black and orange flag. And for those who don't know, I didn't at the time. That means you have to pit because your car has damage. But I was thinking to myself, I'm passing people. It can't be that damaged. But
AKA the meatball flag is what they call it.
And so I'm driving around, and every lap I was doing, I was building penalties up. And then all of a sudden, the iRacing server just yanked me right out of that race, DQ'd, no questions asked. Do not pass go, do not collect $200, and back into the lobby. So I'm learning. I broke 37 miles per hour in the pits. That gave me some penalty, had to come back in through. So there's a lot of learning curve going on in iRacing right now for me. But it's fun. Like I tried to allude to, man. Jason helped me out with this. You're not racing to build safety rating to just get to the next class. This is fun. Once you told me that, I viewed it totally different. That hey, like I got second and I only gained like 0.05 safety. Who cares? I had a blast. My hands are sweating, heart rate's getting up after racing people on the computer. It's awesome. So the safety, you do need to pay attention to it though, because it adds up very quickly. I think that's the big summary here that I need everybody to take away is you need to pay attention. It adds up. And the same with, I believe that carries over from qualifying The penalties that you get in qualifying carry over. So don't quote me on that, but I believe that if you get 2 or 3 penalties breaking track limits on your qualifying, that carries over into the race.
I will fact check
Yeah,
this.
please fact check me on that one. But anyways, just pay attention to it because it does add up quick. Like Jason was saying, one track limits, or bumping somebody, and then you go into the wall. That can be a 4 to 7 point jump right there for the penalties. So, but there's a lot to learn in the rookie class. I mean, that's just kind of what I chalked it up to: is lessons learned. Make them once, don't make them twice. Anybody else? You guys want to pile on to the penalties? Or the safety that builds up into them?
So, that pretty much covers the penalties on the on iRacing. I mean, other than the code of conduct that they have, because iRacing does have chat. It can be turned off. You have different radio channels, so you can speak to a teammate. So if I'm racing and I'm on track with Jeff, we can join a channel, and that way it's private, our chat, even though you can just use Discord or whatever. So many options now. But yeah, that pretty much sums up the penalties. I don't believe that it says
Actually, I googled it last night. I don't know if it carries over, but it still hurts your I rating. The
yes, it
only
does.
time the only time that you can drive
Practice
with
doesn't though. You
practice
practice.
does not. Yep. So if
Okay,
you want to
there
get
you
out there
go.
and push the limits and really get some practice and grinding on where you can really push the car, do it in practice. Don't do it in qualifying of the race.
So, question: does the safety apply the same across all the different types of racing? Because I'd imagine if you're racing Formula, you touching a car is going to be a lot bigger deal than if you're doing, like the rally style racing or something like that.
Yeah, Jason, I can only speak to the Formula open wheel stuff. So I'm not sure.
So your
Hmm.
question, Eric, is if safety is shared across the board?
Yeah, just curious if the 17-point limit is the same for like if you're rally racing or if you're
It's the
doing an
same.
oval or something.
It's
Okay,
the
okay,
same, but it's per session. So it's not like,
yeah, yeah.
damn, I messed up. I got 10, and then I go into it doesn't carry over. And then your safety rating is tied to the category of racing. So for example,
Ah,
if
okay.
you have a 1.0, which I hope you don't, because you can get demoted, guys. If you go down a certain number, the system will demote you down to the next, all the way down to rookie, if you're not careful. Um, but I can be a rookie in NASCAR and ovals, which I am, for obvious reasons. And then I'm a B class in Formula and a B class in road. So I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do with with your time on iRacing, and what is your focus going to be, basically.
Yeah.
So
If
it's a
I
lot of fun. And
Before we move
so
on, just as a rookie who can only get into rookie class races, for the open wheel, there is a race that I try to get into. It starts every on the 15. So 115, 215, 315. So at 115, you'll have your 3-lap qualifying, and then roll right into a 12-minute race, and then whatever you got left for the app for till it hits the next 15 to go get some food, bathroom, etc., and you can jump right back in. So there's tons of, don't think just because you're a rookie you're going to have a hard time finding races. They're every hour.
yeah, and I want to add to that. That's a good point, Jeff. Thank you for putting that out. That iRacing has a mobile application. You can log into the app. You can see what races are going on. You can set reminders to end favorites, so that way hey, I'm part of this series, so I want to be reminded that what times can I jump in the rig and and do my races. And they change every week. So the track will change every week.
That's cool. I didn't
So
know that. I'll have to download. I'll have to grab that out.
yeah, it's free app, iRacing Companion it's called.
It better be free
On
after a couple
It
bucks a
should be
month. Come
free.
on.
Yeah, I mean, damn, you know.
Yeah, that's what y'all paying for, man. That
So
sounds
then
cool though.
yeah, I mean, the game came out in 2008. So when you
Graphic.
guys first, yes, go ahead.
I was going to
Trust
say,
me.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder here, but
N-
uh, you're paying for the most realistic handling of a car and the
Just about to
racing.
cover that, brother.
So here's the alley before you go up there and slam dunk it. Here, go ahead. Off to you.
No, please, by all means, because we're both headed in the same direction. So let's hear it. Let's hear it
Yeah,
from someone that just started and is
sure.
actually, climbing.
Yeah, so the racing is fantastic. The car handling is extremely realistic. Unfortunately, the graphics are not. And it just goes to show you kind of where iRacing, from a business perspective, is putting their research and development. Their company is putting behind the fundamentals of racing. The car handles like it would in real life. The quality of racing, the amount of racing, the user interface on how they facilitate you getting into the race. It is not the graphics. It's not. Don't think you're going to jump in. It's going to look like ACC. At Spa when you get in there. It's not. It's good. It's just not great. Is that fair assessment, Jason? Good, not
Right.
great.
The graphics are they're they're good. I don't want to say they're bad.
Well, I
It
think
depends. It
it,
depends on your system because the game does support full triple screen support. It's not like it's stretched out.
but there is a
Um,
flip side to that though that I just thought of is by having not super graphics intensive, you get a very good frames per second rate on that.
yes,
I think
yes,
I'm at like 120,
and
120 frames a second. Where in ACC, I'm at 105, 95. So
yeah, it
there's a give and
depends.
take to that.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, and it depends. iRacing is an old engine. It was, they've been building on it. They've been developing things, which I'm going to get into. It took them so long to add rain to the game because of the engine. The engine is from 2008. We're talking, over a decade long of an engine. There's not really many titles out there other than RBR, which I can cover RBR in a different segment, a different episode, which I'm getting into more and more. But and it's the same concept. It's like I'm here for the driving. I'm not here for things to look pretty. I mean, they can look pretty. If I want things to look pretty, I'll throw in the ACC or the regular AC. Those games are beautiful. You can mod them and you can have your experience, or even AMS2. AMS2 is another beautiful graphical game that's nice and polished and it even looks great in VR. But Rain is the newest thing that just came out, I believe, in the last major update. For 2024, that is the new thing. It's Rain, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's the most realistic Rain that I've
It's
ever
just
seen.
crazy. Like when they released the rain, everybody lost their mind that does ICC or excuse me, does iRacing. And you're like, guys, it's 2024 and they released rain. It's just funny,
Just
right? That
just think
you're like,
about it. Yeah, it's
you're like,
just Rain. The thing that made it intense, bro, is that a lot of sims can show you rain droplets and stuff like that. What made this, what made it so realistic was that your line is wrong in the rain. And what I mean by that is you cannot drive on the race line in the rain. It's too slippery. There's no grip. So you want to get off the race line, slightly off the race line to find grip. And then if you're behind someone, dude, you can look up videos. The way the water splashes on top of your windshield and you can't see a damn thing. Can't see a damn thing. And they have official events that are just rain, and they have one on the North Slapper, Eric. So just think about that.
Yeah, yeah. I was
Just
gonna say,
pouring
man.
rain in a freaking Audi. I was in the Audi R8, just banging out turns and slipping and sliding all the way for about a
What'd your
13-minute lap.
what's your incidents look like on that one?
Man, I don't know, man. I was it was racking up like crazy, man. But that's pretty much that pretty much sums up iRacing.
If I could just add, one more thing,
Yeah, sure.
I was more or less, I think I was intimidated about getting in there and actually racing another human being. So I kind of stayed in my comfort zone with ACC, F1 23, 24. Now you can race other people in those, but I for whatever reason, Jason constantly pushed me to iRacing, and then suddenly I was like, let me jump in there and see what this thing's all about. And boy, man, how long have I been doing this? 9 months, 10 months. And here I am finally in iRacing. So if you're thinking about it, go give it a go, give it a try. It's a lot of fun. It's absolutely a lot of fun. So I just want to throw that in there, Jason. Just give it a plug there.
No, for sure, man. I mean, I'm glad that you're enjoying it because just because ACC is cool, it doesn't mean that it's gonna be the main title for you. So you know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to give you options to see where do you want to put your time into the most because that's my problem. My problem is I like all kinds of sims and I can't be a master of one because I play them all. So if you're an F1 guy and F124 did not satisfy, which we spoke about,
Yeah.
then your best bet is to jump into iRacing. Yes, it's more expensive. I understand that.
It's got a mouse, though.
It's got a mouse and
Those
it's
that
got
listen to the
formula
previous
cars.
episodes will know what we're talking about.
And you would never think that an F4 car would impress you because it's a slower car. But it's so intense. Wait until you come up to the wait until you start climbing and buying different cars. You're gonna appreciate it more because it's like, okay, well now the options are open to me. I can go and race in the D class or the C class or the B class. Now you have more stuff that you can race in and improve your I rating, which your I rating is kind of like your iRacing rating. It's your skill level, if you may, and then you have your safety. Both of those things can still be improved, even if you're racing in a class that's not really you no more. If you're a B class, if you're a B license holder, there's nothing wrong with going down to rookies. I've been trying to tell Jeff to send me an invite so that I can race with him. And he's been telling me, nah, man, you don't want to come down to these slow cars. And I was like, dude, you don't understand. It's like, it's not about the car being slow. It's about the skill level because there's other players in there that are probably higher skilled than me. Just because I have a higher license rating doesn't limit me to a challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I do catch myself looking up at the leaderboard, and I'm like, oh, he's a C class in front of me. Maybe I don't want to take the inside line on him or somewhere in here. So yeah, it is nice to know who you're racing against too.
right. So that covers iRacing. And we have one more segment. Unless Eric, do you have any other questions for iRacing? Because you're a console guy, and iRacing is not available on console.
Yeah,
Which, yeah, go ahead.
my my only other curiosity was, is there multi-class racing
Yes,
in
there
iRacing?
is.
Okay.
There is.
Is it
There is,
VR
and there.
compatible?
Say again.
Is it VR compatible?
It's probably the best VR you're gonna get
Oh, no
on
kidding.
PC.
All
Oh
right.
yes, it's very light too. It's a very light VR. What I mean by light is you don't need a high powered graphics card to run that in VR. Now, it's a great experience.
Hmm.
However, it's not a GT7 VR. If that's what you, is that what if that's what you're asking, graphically. But we're talking about the
But it's
driving and the feel, and they
yeah.
just upgraded the game to be compatible. It has 360 hertz of force feedback. Okay. ACC is the only one that I've seen that's over 400 when it comes to fidelity. But you need to have a base that supports that. And I believe as it stands, I believe SimiCube is the only one that's pushing out that much fidelity currently. So they're working on bringing that to more open. They're open sourcing it. You know what I mean? But because SimiCube is a partner, and because Fanatec is a partner, both of those are partners. They kind of get the
Okay.
rights to that first. But if there's any, if there's no more questions about iRacing, I'm gonna hand this over to Jeff to cover some further FIA updates um, that have been running
Yeah,
about the net. Yeah, so Jeff,
yeah,
please.
absolutely. So let me give. I said told everybody I try to keep them in the loop with what's happening with these F1 26 updates that it comes to the new car. Um, so first, starting with, let me take a step back. You're having what I'm seeing here is you're seeing the racers, the drivers that are saying one thing about how they think and how they think the car is going to do when it comes to racing and handling. And then you have the engineers, the ones that are responsible for building and tweaking the car to squeeze every little bit of speed they can and out of performance out of it. And the drivers are saying the car has some potential in it, and the engineers are saying these these things that you want to do to a car and what you're telling us what we're going to get out of performance, it's not like it's impossible to achieve this. So I think that you potentially going to see maybe the FIA go back and forth a little bit with the teams when it comes to, hey, these are the things we want to do. Understand that a lot of the team engineers are saying that a lot of it's to do with the aerodynamics and the power unit. Are saying it's just not realistic. But I'm not going to dig into that because I'm not an engineer background. Can't explain, can't understand what I'm reading when they're talking about it. But I will talk about a little bit updated from what the drivers are saying. Max Verstappen from Red Bull is saying that the team's made some pretty good progress in the simulator, simulating the new updates from the car, and that the lap times are relative to the current cars. And that depends on a little bit of the track dependence, weather, etc. But they're getting pretty close to the current setup, which is very interesting. You have Nico Hulkenberg that added. It looks like a lot less downforce, especially in the high speed corners. So straightaways, the drivers are fully anticipating going faster, and I'll get you into a point what George Russell said. But I think you're going to see a lot faster cars in the straightaway, but the corners are going to be slower than where they are now, and that's a cold hard fact of less downforce. So George Russell had some very interesting things to say, as he is the Grand Prix Drivers Association director from the drivers. But anyways, he said safety is going to be an issue because they're anticipating going, quote unquote, 230 miles an hour on the straights. And that's something the FIA is going to have to keep an eye on. That's quote
Wow.
unquote. So 200, I think it's in perspective now. They're hitting, I think the fastest time they've had this year is maybe 210 down the straightaway, maybe 210.
But that's
So
peaking. That's
Oh
like
man.
yeah,
peak
that's peaking.
speed.
This is 230. But he also goes on to say that they believe that they're potentially with the new battery could potentially run out of power, mid straightaway. So they don't think that they're going to be sustain that speed as long. But a lot of people are just kind of saying, understand we're going to be going potentially faster, but is the racing going to be better because of the less downforce as we're going around the corners? It's physics. I'm not a physics dude, but I can understand that less downforce, slower corners. It is what it is. So we'll kind of see. I'll keep everybody in the loop. That's some updates when it comes to the new some of the new regs and arguments and back and forth over the drivers, engineers, and the FIA. You have a little bit of a triangle there of power and try to influence. So you guys got any questions that I can maybe try to answer or clarify?
No, I mean those are
None I can think
interesting.
of.
No, no. Yeah, well, thanks, Eric. But no, those are interesting. Keep those coming because things will continue to unfold as time goes by, right? I mean, regulations, things change all the time. So, but hearing the changes myself, I just us as the fan, we're not going to understand until those come about. And I'm pretty sure the teams will find a way because they will always find a way to make maybe tune the car different, you know what I mean, around the corners or drop drop a different engine map while they're you know building
Yeah.
different engine maps while they're
I
coming
mean,
out of the corner.
the straights are cool. The top speeds, don't get me wrong, is cool, but the corners and when you see a car go from 200 miles an hour to 60 in like a second and then back up to 150, that's why you watch F1. It's for the I like the cornering and the acceleration, the G's on these guys. I don't need a higher top speed in the corner. I want to see, or excuse me, on the straights, I want to see faster corners. Give me more downforce, less top end.
Like a
I'd be happy with
technical
that.
technical
Yeah,
the technical aspect of the racing. I agree.
they're
I
just going
enjoy
the wrong way, in my
racing.
opinion.
Yeah, I enjoy racing in the rain. The rain just flips everything on its head, and it's kind of like, all right, boys, it's not about the car no more. It's about the skills and who can manage the car and the skills. And if you guys been watching the races recently, you will see that the man that's winning, Verstappen, you put him on a wet track, and it's not the case. You know what I mean? It's just not the case. It's a different style. So I believe that what they're trying to do is reinvent the wheel, if you may, and try to get rid of the same anonymous thing. If you have the fastest car, you will win. Blah blah blah. So I mean, same loop, just different generation, same thing. So thank you for those updates. I appreciate those. Those are awesome, and I just keep them coming, man, because we're gonna see them change, and we're gonna see some radical changes here soon. Because I know Mercedes just picked up a new driver for
Yeah, I mean things are
25.
happening. Yeah, they
He's a rookie. He's an F2. He's
it,
an F2 guy, right? I think.
yeah, they Kimmy, they lobbied the F1 to lower the age restrictions for a super license. So I think it was 17. I think they lowered it to 17 for Max when he came in, and now for Kimmy, it's down to 16. Can you imagine being a 16-year-old and driving an F1 car on the circuit? Not saying he's
I
getting the
know
Mercedes seat that Lewis is moving. Not saying
the
that,
800.
because I still got my fingers crossed for sights. But can you imagine being 16 years old and driving an F1 car? That is
I don't know how many
nuts,
$1 million
That's
freaking
crazy.
car
bro.
you
That's
trusting this
crazy.
16-year-old to carry out, and
Bro can't even drive on the streets, and he's driving, in the most competitive racing in the world.
yeah,
That's wild.
I think it's
I didn't think
wild
about that.
because yeah, go ahead, because at 16, I don't think the male body is fully developed at 16. You know what I mean? Like your muscles, your joints, and all that stuff. So if you get
Nope.
into a wreck, you could potentially be damaged permanently. So
Yep.
hmm, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I don't care
Ferrari
how
had
big
that.
the guy is.
Yeah, Ferrari had that. Bremen fill in for sites when he had he had to get that surgery, emergency surgery, and I think he was like 17 or 18. I think he was a senior in high school. I remember seeing Monday he had to go into class after
Oh,
the race.
bro,
Could you imagine that? I
you
mean,
know how
that's
much
crazy,
street
dude.
cred you'll be, dude.
That's
Bro,
You'll
hilarious.
be,
instantly became the coolest kid in
yeah.
class. Come on, driving
Oh
a
yeah.
Ferrari in F1. Dang.
All the girls after him, guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, we'll see how things unfold. 25 is going to be an interesting year for F1. I
It,
mean,
yeah, I mean, my Mercedes close to tighten it up, man. They're getting faster every week. Here we come, baby, making a run at it.
I hope so.
It's
I'm,
been a
I'm
tough. It's
hoping.
been a tough like year and a half, man. It's
Yeah,
been a
it's
tough year and a
yeah.
half.
I know, but we're
They're on the
getting there.
rebound. On the rebound.
All right, guys, that's gonna wrap this up. That's gonna wrap up our episode for this week. Um, I'm pretty sure we touched on all topics, and of course, send us a message if you have any specific question about anything that we've covered so far. So I'll do the round table. I'm pretty sure Mr. Eric Kelly or Jeff Smart. Anything else you guys want to add to the episode before we wrap this?
Nothing here.
Nothing, man. Great hanging out and chatting with you guys again. And everybody, drive fast and break late.
There it is. I'm waiting for it. That's what I'm waiting for. Drive fast, break late. Eric, we need to find something for you. Mine is
Yeah.
just everybody, just thank you. Thank you for listening. So it is an absolute pleasure to come on here and to talk about these things and help out the community. You could check me out on Twitch. I'm on there every Tuesday, Thursday, sometimes Wednesdays. Sometimes I'll throw in a surprise stream. The other day I was streaming a taxi cab sim just so you wouldn't have to buy it. I bought the game and actually ended up liking it. So,
Yo, go check him out. He's got good stuff going. He's a really good driver. He's got a really cool sim. You can check it out, and he can drive the hell out of some cars.
I appreciate it,
definitely.
Jeff. I appreciate it. And Mr. Eric Kelly as well. He's the tech gent. And he puts out content from time to time. I'm trying to tell him, hey, you need to get back on there, bro. So, but
we got
but
some
when he
free time
does put
coming
something out, when he does put videos together, they're amazing. They're in full detail. Quality's there. It's Eric Kelly. Can't expect anything
I
less from him.
appreciate that, man.
So, well, guys, it was fun. And we just hit the 50 minutes, so this is by far the longest episode that
Time flies when we're chatting about this stuff.
I know, man. Yeah. So, with that, everyone stay safe, and thank you so much for your time today, both of you, and to all our listeners, have a great start of your week. Thank you.